1. What's up, everyone? So I'm here with my boy Caleb.
What's up?
And we're actually at our youth conference right now, our annual youth conference for our church. It's the first time I've seen you in like how long?
In a year, probably.
Yeah, a year. He was actually in my So Gone challenge video. If y'all go look at that, he was the best rapper there. He was the last one. Monster with the lyrics.
Always hyping me up.
It's true. You're actually gonna freestyle for us today, right?
Yeah, at the end,
Yeah, that's good. So look forward to it. So anyway, Caleb is an INFP, and I'm continuing my series with interviewing all 16 personality types. Caleb is now exploring his personality type and everything, and I said, yo, like, you'd be perfect for this video to interview and everything, especially as a guy, because, you know, we always get the INFPs, like, with the rainbows and all of that, and to have, like, a male INFP, I think that a lot of male INFPs will be able to relate, while female INFPs will still be able to relate. And even if you can't, then, you know, you have enough material out there anyway. Or just let me know, and I'll get a female INFP to do a female INFP video. And now we're about to talk about the INFP's cognitive function stack. And don't get that confused with the dichotomies. A lot of people only know the dichotomies, you know, introverted, intuitive, feeling, perceiving. But there's so much more to personality typing than just those 4 dichotomies. And so, Caleb, I think you've memorized your function stack by now, right? Might have.
So there's introverted feeling, extroverted intuition, introverted sensing, and extroverted thinking.
Boom. The whole rest of this video, we're about to go through like what those functions actually mean and how they relate to the INFP, because in that specific order, they come out in different ways. But if you want to know like a general understanding of the cognitive functions, I have videos on the 4 perceiving functions, and I also have a video on the 4 judging functions, so you guys can go refer to that. So some well-known INFPs would be Kendrick Lamar,
My favorite rapper.
C.S. Lewis, Lauryn Hill,
Cool.
Isabel Briggs, Eminem, Tommy Pickles, NF the rapper, Andrew Garfield, who also played Peter Parker in Spider-Man, who was also INFP in The Amazing Spider-Man, but he's INTP in the other Spider-Man, just to clarify. Barry Allen from The Flash, Lupe Fiasco, Joel Osteen, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Henry David Thoreau, John Lennon, Bob Dylan, Luke Skywalker, Pharrell Williams, Virginia Woolf, William Shakespeare, and Bob Marley. So as you can see, that's just a general range of INFPs, and you can see they come in like a whole bunch of different like nuances, but that's some INFPs that you can go and like check out and see like the similarities, and you can also see like the differences between them and how they just all use those 4 cognitive functions differently. So now that we bring that up, we're about to go into what all these cognitive functions are, what they mean, and how they relate to Caleb over here. So the first cognitive function for the INFP is introverted feeling, also known as FI, and Personality Hacker calls it authenticity. This function is all about being completely in tune with your inner values and your feelings, and sorting out how your feelings are like on the inside and everything. Being very true to yourself. FI users always ask themselves questions such as, how does this make me feel? What is best for me? And not necessarily like in a selfish way, but more of trying to remain authentic to who they are. Who am I as a person? What are my beliefs, etc.
So the way I relate to FI, I know me when it comes to making decisions for me, I usually try to see how they hold up to, you know, my moral code, my beliefs and values. And most of the times when I'm making decisions, when I'm just, you know, thinking about anything in general, I'm always trying to relate it back to if that represents me as a person, if that's who I am.
So is that something that you like really consciously ask yourself, like every time you're about to make a decision?
Every time, like, let's see, think of an example. So let's say like I'm thinking about, I don't know, let's say someone gets me mad, right?
Which happens often.
Yeah. And I get, let's say I'm thinking about retaliating, and I know that there's some things I could say that like will bury this person, right? And then I have to stop myself and think, I'm like, look, is this how I want people to see me? Is this how like is this what I want people to think of me? Like, does this represent who I am as a person and what I really believe in? Because we all get mad from time to time, but like, regardless of that, I wouldn't want someone feeling that way because I wouldn't want me to feel that way. And even if someone's angered me and they deserve whatever, I can lash out at them. Should I really do it? So.
How would you say that you've like built up who you are, like getting true to yourself, and if you even don't mind, like who would you share? Like who is Caleb to you?
So, Caleb to me is a thinker, misunderstood.
Snowflake.
Misunderstood. People tend to see me as indifferent. I don't care. I don't try. That's people told me personally. And in reality, it's not like that at all. It's the complete opposite. I just tend to not necessarily hide, but I choose not to show my emotions, sometimes to a fault. Because I grew up, and for the most part growing up, I was an emotional kid. So as I've grown, I learned how to control that more, with like anger problems and stuff. Learn not necessarily how to bottle things up, but how to channel it towards other positive things. Just talking to people every day, it's my, like my relationship, all that. They see that like I don't outwardly express the feelings that like other people would usually, but that doesn't mean I don't have them. It's just know how to express them different than other people.
Introverted feeling. Fun fact. Whenever I usually think about it, it's like, so I'm an extroverted feeler. I have FE, so I'm more in tune with everybody else's feelings, and then I'm like out of tune with my feelings for like to an extent. But for introverted feelers, even though it seems like they're not really like as expressive, Jamila is another example. They feel their feelings super intently, like inside. And the funny thing is, when something triggers that feeling, they can become so passionate. And Caleb is a rapper, and he's also a poet. And I've seen him express his feelings in that way. And it's funny because that's when you'll actually like see, whoa. Like anybody who would call Caleb like indifferent or like, having no feelings or whatever, when you see him in that element, it's like, oh no, he has probably more feelings than I do. Like that's where a lot of passion comes from, and I feel like a lot of FI users, they tend to do that. Like that's like once they find a feeling to like root onto, and they're triggered to express that feeling, it's powerful. It's a very powerful way.
It's all about finding a medium to express your emotions.
Yeah.
As opposed to just outwardly saying like how you feel. You find some kind of art form. Maybe it's drawing. Maybe it's writing. Whatever it is. Maybe it's a sport. Whatever. But
Do you journal at all?
No, I really don't. I kind of consider my writing journaling because I used to write so much, but it's fallen off.
I feel you. Going back to this passionate speaking, you even see this a lot with Eminem's rapping and Lupe Fiasco. Well, Lupe Fiasco, we'll get more into that. But Eminem's rapping, you can totally see like FI in it, like how heavily in tune he is with his emotions, especially like having like a bad childhood. And not even to get like personal or whatever, but like you've been through a lot of things yourself, like as you were like younger, and you're free to express as much as you want or not as much as you want, doesn't really matter. But yeah, Caleb has been through a lot as well, and just being that attached to your feelings, I can only like imagine, like it's not like, for me it's easy for me to like repress that, but then for you it's like after you've been through like so much, it's just so hard for you to like let go of it.
It's hard because like when you're introverted and you spend all that time alone, because it's kind of like what you crave at one point. Sometimes like a lot of people like you can thrive in the spotlight. You can thrive around other people, like you can, because you can kind of attach yourself like externally emotionally to them, as opposed to like me, I can't do that in a group. I gotta like kind of like dig deep down from within and then figure out how I'm gonna express what I want to say, because this isn't a normal medium. I'm actually trying to express my feelings outwards to other people. So I kind of have to, when I'm trying to express my feelings, I end up kind of relating it to more of a logical sense, because I try to like, when I'm outwardly expressing things like that, I try to keep it as logical as possible, and not express as much emotion as possible, and that's just the proper channel to do so.
Yeah, that would make sense too. This is the repressed TE as well, so that makes a lot of sense. On my video comparing the INFJ and the INFP, a lot of other INFPs that I know and ones who commented, they related to a metaphor that I used, but I wanted to see like if you could like relate to it. I basically said that a mailbox, like imagine like a whole mailbox wall basically, and you don't have the keys to any of those mailboxes, and each mailbox is like labeled like anger, happiness, sadness, stuff like that, and behind each one is a jawbreaker. And when somebody gives you a reason to be angry or happy or sad or whichever, or if you're just feeling that way, then you take that key, quickly open it, and you really like sulk in whatever emotion that you're in, and it's actually like enjoyable for you. Like it's almost like feasting on emotions. Like you enjoy like sorting out through your feelings, and like you enjoy like the flavor of your feelings in some way. Would you say that you actually like relate to that? Like you actually relate to like sitting down, like when you're happy, then you just start like observing, why am I happy? Like how does this feel? This is a really good feeling. Like observing the emotion itself. When you're angry, then you're even slow to like forgive people because you like being in your anger.
Like, well, I wouldn't say I like being in my anger necessarily, but it's all about like going back to that channel to like express your feelings, because you can't just bottle them up inside. You can't just hold them in, and that's what I've learned. So it's like once you're experiencing an emotion, let's say it's something you don't want to get out, like it's happiness or whatever, right? So you're happy, and right now you're just trying to embellish in the moment. Like, okay, I'm happy. I know why I'm happy. Let's try to keep what makes me happy around, because, I can't just go up to whatever, like let's say it's a person. It's kind of hard to just go up to that person and be like, you make me happy, stay around. I can't say that. I like the analogy you use, except I feel like when you're first, like, coming into your own with the FI, you tend to soak in your emotions more, which I did when I was younger. But as I grew up, I still have my instances where I do, but like I learned how to like channel it to other things, because you don't want to soak in your emotions, you don't want to bottle things up.
So that came with development.
Yeah, that came with development.
Gotcha.
A lot when I was younger. I used to get mad. When I get mad in my room, I'd like hit something, right? And that was my outward expression of my feelings, because I couldn't talk about it. I didn't know how to talk about it, I didn't know how to express it, so I'd punch something, or I'd hit something. I wouldn't hit anybody, but I'd hit something. And I knew it was getting bad. The last time I actually did damage, I punched my car windshield, and I broke it. So, like, well, that was a really rough time, but, like, after that, and I was like, all right, something has to change, because I just, like, open palm smacked my windshield, and it broke, and I don't know how to react right now. Like, I felt like I was losing it. And, like, that's not the first time, like, I punched glass. Like, I punched my window in my room and broke it. And, like, it's just... But that was me just sorting out with things when I was younger, and then dealing with a whole bunch of problems. And it wasn't even that long ago. That was, about, I want to say 6 years ago, before I finally figured out, okay, Caleb, we got to figure this out 5 years ago. And, yeah, so I guess it's all about developing where you're going to channel that emotion into, because it's so hard to outwardly express it.
I guess my last question for FI would be, it's not just with like negative emotions that FI users do this, it's with positive ones such as like happiness and joy as well. Do you find yourself like sulking in joy and happiness, or like even like you finding a medium to express that in?
Sometimes, like, I mean, obviously your mood changes when you're happy, right?
Right.
And like I'll find myself sometimes like I'll like be in a good mood, and I'll be in a good mood for a while, and like people will notice it in me, like you seem happy today, because they're used to the blank indifferent expression on my face. So when I'm smiling and when I'm talking to people more, which I don't usually do, but like when I'm talking to people more, I'm like I'm smiling and stuff, because it's weird, because I understand that like I'm introverted, but everyone at school knows me as having a lot of friends and being kind of social, which isn't really necessarily the case, because the only time I'm social is when I'm in my dorm room in like a place of comfort and solitude. And then I'm social, because I'm in my place. But like being out at like the party or something, I'm not going to be the life of the party. We go out to, I don't know,
except
wherever.
for when you rap.
Except for when I rap, but that's when I get drunk, so that doesn't count.
So the next function of the INFP, the auxiliary function for the INFP, is extroverted intuition, also known as NE, and also known as exploration by personality hacker. I would define it as a curiosity for the world. It's literally exploring possibilities, ideas, making very abstract connections, finding a connection between probably a water bottle and the bed in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's hilarious because, you know, Caleb does that extremely well with his music. On Personality Junkie, there was a quote where basically they defined NE as like NE can be associated with a sense of blind anticipation and expectation of not knowing who or what will manifest next in one's life journey. I also see this with Tommy Pickles as well. I actually used to think of him as an ENFJ, and then after thinking about it longer, then I was like, oh shoot, no, he's INFP. Looked it up online, other people like agreed with me as well. And one of the ways that I really knew this is that he was very, very, very heavily, strongly in tune with his emotions, with his identity. Like, no, Chucky, we're not doing that or whatever, because, you know, I'm Tommy Pickles, etc., etc. And the biggest thing was he had extroverted intuition, not introverted intuition. Introverted intuition is all about, like, taking the outside world and then, you know, like, making it into, like, one abstract concept. You can hear more about that in my videos on the perceiving functions and metacognition video as well. But extroverted intuition, as I defined before, was heavily represented in Tommy Pickles because he did not necessarily have a goal. He just wanted to explore. And he would take the other Rugrats out and, you know, he would just go out and, like, they didn't have, like, any goal or any mission. They just explored, and they did it in such an abstract and creative way. And in the same sense, you'll see a lot of this, like, abstract connections with Lupe Fiasco, the rapper, and even Kendrick Lamar. Both also expressed their FI through their music very passionately. But Lupe's song Mural, for example,
Greatest song ever.
that song is amazing. If you want to see NE at its finest, look up Lupe Fiasco's song Mural. Is literally a mural. It's a whole abstract vision of a song, just like slapping together like a whole bunch of things that are like connected but very loosely connected. And Caleb does this a lot. Like, even before I knew about MBTI, I just always knew, like, yo, Caleb, he just makes metaphors, like connections, like out of like nowhere. I would say that our metaphors are slightly different. Like, I'll find a metaphor to be able to like explain something, but Caleb more makes like metaphors such as like I can't even like imitate it, but he's like, one time we were watching a video of a girl, little baby that was thrown into the pool to swim or something, and Caleb just out of nowhere, he's like, yo, they threw her like a ice cube, you know, something like that. You know, you just connect stuff like that, and that's like a kind of like a bad example, but he just always has to say something like something, you know, as opposed to like me, where I'm trying to like find a metaphor to explain a concept. For your music, I want you to like share a little bit more of like with your NE and everything.
Okay. Well, I found myself lately, usually when I'm writing, it gets easier for me to write if I have a concept, right? So I'll be talking to whoever I'm doing music with, or if I'm not doing music alone. If I'm doing music alone, usually like I'll find the beat on YouTube or something, and I'll read the title of the beat, and I'll see if there's a word that sticks out to me. It could be like prosper or like pain. I have one song called Vanity, and I take those words and I run with it.
Yo, this is a testament to all the hypocrisy. Y'all can't top of me. Even when you're pumping your brakes, you still ain't stopping me. Whack niggas thinking they stars, no constellation. None of y'all were coming in first, no consolation. Spitting bars for me, no one else with big C. Cause I'm tired of this music and the stupid force free. Vented from the heart, when I did it from the start. Now society's corrupted cause they do not get the art. I stay rapping about the light while you be coming from the dark. I don't carry Iron Man, I ain't talking Tony Stark. I can come with the gunplay, but that would be a war. Niggas talking about the hammers, I be thinking they are Thor. A sick artist full of your.
Okay. That was a bad example about that. Anyway, so like in my music, when I'm looking for, say, a concept so I can finish a song, I try to grasp onto like, you know, one word And then from there, I just like kind of like the opposite of what he said, like taking things and boiling it down into one thing. I kind of try to take one thing and then expand it into a whole bunch of different things. So, let's say I had a song called Adversity, so that I'm still working on. So I talk about adversity, and then I'll start talking about different things that'll cause adversity in your life. So I'll start talking about, I don't know, school, relationships, family, money, things of that nature, and anything that'll cause like adversity, or what's the word I'm looking for? Synonym. I can't think of it.
Adversity, or trauma.
No trauma.
Havoc.
Try. What's the word?
Destruction.
Dang, you got mad dark. It's not adversity. It's anything that'll cause like controversy in your life, and that's not the word I was looking for, but whatever. When I'm doing my music, I tend to do that a lot. I tend to try to find one concept and run with it, and see if I can expand it into more. And it works to a T. It works to a point, and then it gets hard when I can't find that one concept to barrel down on. And then that's when I get sometimes some of my songs to sound a little sporadic, because one verse will be a different concept, another verse will be a different concept. I had one song called Opportunity Knocks. So I started and I was like, opportunity's knocking, it's at my door. Fulfilling all my dreams of ever going on tour, from living on the floors to partying on the roofs, surviving all the lies and edifying the truth. And then I was like, from there, I was like, okay, well now I'm talking about how I used to be living on the floor, talk about how we used to live in a really bad apartment. So then I start going back into like my past, and I'm like, I've been hurt and my heart has been hardened, living in a mansion after one-bedroom apartments, dealing with relationships, broken ties, blatant lies, struggling with life, and I do not think that I'll survive. And like, I just try to like take that one concept and run with it for multiple lines. That's how it helps me in my music. I can't really come up with an example for how it helps me, with my life now, but my music's a big part of it. Music, poetry, and spoken word. So that's how it helps me a lot.
That's dope. And we'll be providing a whole bunch of links to Caleb's music for anybody who wants to check it out in the description. So yeah, be sure to do that. He's really great. Trust me. Check out our So Gone video. Another form of NE is also like literally exploring the external world, such as I was saying with Tommy Pickles. These are the type of people that they travel to like different cultures, and they just literally like to experience the world on it like in different ways that they're not even used to. And for INFPs, NE being their auxiliary function, it's uncomfortable for them, but because they tend to stay in like an FI SI loop, and we're getting to SI next. But once they come out of themselves and they actually explore the external world, and they're able to like, see the world for what it is and all of that, they're able to have a better scale for what their ideals and what their values are basically matched up against. I know that you're not the type to probably like be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go live in my car for a year or something, or like I'm just gonna run off to Spain and start a new life over there. But do you see if there's like any ways that you
Well, let's see. Well, that wouldn't happen because I grew up in the city. Us black people, we don't do that shit. So my girlfriend's always like, oh, come take a hike with me. I'm like, bears, nah. I find myself sometimes just getting annoyed with situations. Like, let's say, like, I'll be home, and I'll be home for a while. And if I'm home for too long, I get mad. Because I want to do something. I want to, like, I get bored. Like, I don't want to be there. Same thing with, like, and it happens everywhere I go. I'll go home. I'll go to my mom's house to visit for a little bit. And then I'll be like, okay, now I'm bored here too. Like, I need to figure out something to do. I get to school, and then I'm like, I'm at school, and I'm having fun because it's different. And then after a while, I'm like, all right, I got to get out of here. Like, it's annoying sometimes because you don't ever feel content with what you have. But it's always like, I want to do something different and do something more.
Interesting. So the next function for the INFP is introverted sensing. And this is a 10-year-old function, so it's weaker than the dominant and the auxiliary function. It operates as if like it's a 10-year-old, basically. Introverted sensing also helps the INFP in basically having sort of a routine, but it's not as strong a routine as, for example, an SJ would have, because their SI is a dominant or an auxiliary function. So them having a routine also provides something for their NE, because then they're able to have something to basically fall back on that is safe for them before they start trying to explore. If you're gonna use a function like NE, then you always need something to refer back to that it's safe and tried and true. And if you're gonna use a function like SI, then it's good to have a function like NE where you can get out and actually explore, and you're not just always in this secure safe spot. It's also called memory by Personality Hacker, and this can come out a lot with it's detailed information about experiences that you've had. So it's literally referring back to your past and all of that. And SI is usually really good with just capturing the details of the moment, and even organization and all of that. So a lot of rappers that we were mentioning earlier, they refer back to their past, and I think that's why a lot of INFPs tend to have a lot of depression and trauma or whatever, because their FI and their SI, maybe not you, but their FI and their SI are their FI basically is dang, this made me feel that time made me feel so strongly or whatever. This is exactly how I felt. And then their SI is a very detailed reminder of how they felt during that time. And that's how they're also able to express themselves through these music mediums and etc.
Well, you definitely, you just said it all. So I find myself a lot when I'm writing music, or if I'm going through a hard time, if I'm just referring back to another one, I kind of find myself caught up in that moment again. And it makes it easier to express what I want to express, because it's almost like I'm reliving that moment again, or those strong emotions that I'm trying to portray back through whatever I'm doing, whether it be music or poetry. So I guess it kind of I want to say counteracts, but counterbalances it. So where I have this this feeling of self, and then another feeling, another sense that's helping me recall moments from the past, and recall those feelings from the past that I can then portray into wherever I want to portray onto.
And then that's why it's really healthy for INFPs to engage more in their extrovert intuition. It's healthy for every personality type to develop the mess out of their auxiliary function. So for the INFP, that extrovert intuition basically interrupts the introverted feeling and the introverted sensing loop that they have. So any type of bad detailed memories that they're having that's keeping them feeling really keeping those emotions bottled in, it's now giving them the ability to not only be able to explore other options and other ideas and other possibilities, but being able to actually vent out all of those pent in emotions as well. It's also good for them because then when they are done exploring, then they have something to fall back on and relax, that's really steady before they get bored, and then they want to go out and try something new once again. So the final function for the INFP is extroverted thinking, also known as TE, and Personality Hacker calls it effectiveness. This function is all about thinking very logically and objectively for the external world and how to get things done. Going out there and basically going after whatever you want to do, and what will get you results in the external world. And this function in the INFP operates as a 3-year-old. And so this is why oftentimes INFPs tend to have difficulty in actually pursuing their dreams, because unless they start engaging with their auxiliary function enough and being comfortable with exploring and going out and having their possibilities and everything, then they're not really going to be driven or as driven to pursue their dreams or whatever. And that's why y'all tend to be called lazy, or a lot of times when I'm talking to Caleb, every single time without fail that me and Caleb meet up again, he tells me, oh, I gotta start writing again. I've kind of stopped, you know what I mean?
It's true though.
I just never get around to it.
It's not even just with writing. I'm struggling now. I just graduated college, and I'm trying to figure out what path to go on with my career choice, because I graduated with a bio degree, basically a pre-med degree, and I want to go into physical therapy. So I can go into physical therapy, but I can also try to go into med school. I can also try to go into PA school. I can also try to go into occupational therapy, speech therapy, whatever. And I want to, shoot for the stars and see if I can try out for med school. Now, my problem is I'm scared, it's medicine. Medicine's like the most daunting field there is. And I'm scared that I won't have the drive or like the dedication to make it through because I don't know exactly what I want to do yet. And my struggle is that's literally like the hardest thing possible. You need to be 100% focused, 100% locked in all the time. And I don't know if I have that dedication yet to do it.
Wow.
So I feel like that's just me needing to develop my auxiliary more to figure out, what exactly I want to do and take that risk.
Yeah.
That, and the medical school that I want to be aiming for is in the Caribbean. So it's going to be different being gone for 3 years. So I'm trying to figure that out.
A lot of advice like that I would give to you and then other INFPs out there. It's like I said, like develop that auxiliary function. Like do not be afraid to explore the external world, to get outside of yourself and try new things and to take risks. Like y'all are wired to like take risks that you are not comfortable with. That's actually how you will grow and develop. Huge tip for you guys is because y'all have FI as a dominant function. As soon as you guys adopt something as like, this is me, this is mine, this is who I am, I love this, there's no stopping you. That TE will all of a sudden like just charge forth. So I would like encourage you to look within yourself, like, do I really love medicine? We're both Christian, so it's like, is this what God really wants me to do? Do I have a passion for it? And once you get that passion for it, you're gonna shoot for it. Like nobody's gonna be able to stop you.
That's what I know too. That's what I know. I'm like, I know if I can lock myself in and I can like say like dedicate myself to this, I know I'll be able to do it. It's just a matter of like getting that dedication.
Yeah.
That, because I don't want to jump into something that I'm not ready for, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. Money's a problem, y'all. Some notes that I wrote down for TE, some final notes, would be it's associated with structure, organization, quantification, and the ability to manage T things, such as time and finances. It has difficulty in, like when it's in an inferior function. This is all for inferior function. It has difficulty in handling logistical details, staying on top of their finances, organizing their homes and schedules, or developing effective rules and modes of discipline for their children. Basically, TE is not the most comfortable function for y'all INFPs, but it's in your function stack for a reason. You don't have to necessarily try and develop TE that much. It's supposed to be a 3-year-old for a reason, because if you develop it too much, it could cause you to do things that, are unethical to your values, and your values are your priority. So the best thing to do is to have your values and your priorities and who you are, your authentic self, but then have just enough TE to be able to actually pursue. I think we're gonna just wrap this up with Caleb doing a little freestyle, unless if you have like any last words or advice for other INFPs out there as well.
Well, I'm still trying to get to know it all, so I guess my advice would be just read up, study, try to figure out, exactly what drives you, exactly what you want to be driven to.
Yeah, and even like outside of like MBTI, like anything that's probably like helped you like personally, like with
finding an outlet for your emotions is like number one, because it's so easy to like bottle up and just like reclude and just like chill in a corner and say, forget everybody, I'm just gonna hold this in because no one cares, and it's really easy to do that. But once you find that outlet, people start listening, and people will listen regardless.
Okay, Kendrick.
But once you find that outlet, like, people will listen, and as long as you're able to express it however you feel is necessary, then, you should be fine. So it's just all about finding an outlet for your emotions and not getting too caught up in whatever it's in your head, because I know I get caught up in whatever's in my head all the time. So, yeah.
Beautiful. All right, well then, to wrap this up, Caleb's about to do a freestyle for us. Oh, I mean, if that's what you're trying to do.
I mean, I'll freestyle better.
All right.
Find a beat.
I'm about to find some beat then.
This is a song for my haters. That's gonna be hard. the beat out there.
3, 2, 1, go.
About to blow up. I said I've been spitting fire. Haters want to mess with me, I'm making them all retire. You know that I've been fire and you know my lyrics higher. I'm getting mad at people that be thinking that I'm lower than them. I spit bars and you be at the... That sounds awful. Hold on, find a different beat.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay. I said, I've been writing in my head while I'm thinking about my life, and I'm hoping that I never end up dead. Everything that's been said, thoughts in my head make me pre-read everything that I already read. I said, thinking about my life and all the goals, trying to hit my flow, cause that's all that I know. Thinking about the life and the struggles of a young man, trying to come through, trying to make it with a solid plan. I'm trying to make 100 grand, maybe go to France. I'm trying to be the man that they thought I wouldn't be. But now I'm thinking about the life that I wouldn't be, the life I wouldn't see, gang members in the beat. I said gang members left in jail. I'm thinking about life and praying that I never fail. I don't want to end up just sitting in the cell, cause my bar's too nice, but I ain't never going to hell. I said too sick for the lyrics, too nice with the rhymes, cause my sickness got me thinking that I'm gone. I think that I'm life and I think that I'm light, but you know that my rhymes got me thinking that I'm wrong through the struggles and the pain. Thinking about my life and trying to get through the rain. While all these rappers talking about the fiction, but all I know is straight right now I got the diction to come through with the real conviction, to come through and to reminisce this mission. I said I'm trying to fix my life and my freestyle's whack, but I'm trying to go through it all right. I said, I don't know, I'm just rapping now, thinking about my life, trying to be the cash cow, trying to make it now, trying to get the plans, trying to make it now, cause you know Big C, I am the man, they call me Big C from NYC, you wanna hate on me, but you know I've been a G. I said, I've been the realest, but I'm smart with it. You haters mad at me when y'all just talk fiction, all y'all know is fake, but all I know is real. I'm spitting real emotions, that shit that you might feel. I know what is the deal, I know what is the deal. I'm trying to make a connection, cause all I feel is real. All I feel is the struggles, all I see is the light, all I see is the darkness, all I'm seeing is right, all I'm seeing is contradictions. I'm thinking about my life and trying to make a plan, but I'm trying to be a better man,
And that was Caleb. So thanks y'all for watching. Hopefully y'all understand the INFP personality type a little bit more, especially from a guy perspective. And just in case y'all didn't know, the INFP logo is a snowflake because a lot of INFPs happen to believe that they are snowflakes. Luckily, you're not one of them. But we were actually going to go for a Tumblr logo, you know. That was what was recommended to me. But yeah, I'm just kidding with y'all, sort of. I love y'all INFPs. Done.